In the 19th century, whale hunting reached its zenith. This was the era of the whaling fever, where the hunt became extremely profitable. Over 1,000 ships set sail in pursuit of these marine giants. The ambergris from whales was valuable in the manufacture of luxury perfumes, while whalebone was used in high-quality clothing. Whale oil was essential, used both in machinery and as fuel for street lighting. Let's time travel to August 12, 1819, when a whaling ship, the Essex, departed from Nantucket, Massachusetts, for a 2.5-year expedition. George had promised Owen's mother that he would look after him and that they would return home after a few months, with pockets full of money. After tearful farewells, the two headed for the Essex, eager to embark on a whaling adventure. Their goal was clear: work hard and return with financial resources. It was a long journey, even by the standards of previous expeditions, necessitated by the dwindling whale populations in the North Atlantic at the start of the 19th century. Intensive hunting had forced whalers to seek new waters, initially near South America and eventually in the vast Pacific Ocean. Over time, these voyages became longer and more dangerous, but the rewards, in the form of barrels of whale oil, could be enormous. The Essex, with 20 years of service, was under the command of the young Captain George Pollard Jr., aged 28, and had a crew of 19 men, including Owen Chase as first mate. 3 days after departure, a violent storm struck the ship, an ominous portent. After necessary repairs, the crew captured their first sperm whale near Brazil. But their luck did not last, and the search for more whales took them beyond Cape Horn, at the southern tip of South America, in January 1820. In Peru, they finally found a rich area, obtaining 450 barrels of oil. Months later, more than 2,000 kilometers west of Peru, the Essex spotted whales and set out to hunt. On November 20th, a nearly mythical experience occurred. A gigantic whale, over 20 meters in length, attacked the ship, an event that would later inspire the story of Moby Dick. This encounter with a creature from the depths of the ocean was just the beginning of a terrible survival journey for the Essex crew. In the vastness of the ocean, a sperm whale spotted the Essex a few meters away. With its head turned toward the ship, the animal spouted water several times before charging with great force against the hull, shaking the entire crew. Owen Chase, the first to observe the sperm whale passing under the vessel, noted its unusual fury. After the first attack, the stunned crew tried to assess the damage. They quickly realized the ship was seriously damaged and beginning to take on water. As they scrambled to make emergency repairs, the sperm whale briefly distanced itself. However, to everyone's horror, it returned with renewed vigor, striking the Essex again with tremendous force, this time dooming the ship to sink. 20 men, divided into 3 boats, faced the challenge of surviving with only 136 kilograms of biscuits, water, and a few turtles. Pollard proposed 2 rescue routes, but the crew rejected both, fearing cannibals on the Marquesas and Society Islands. They opted to head for South America, a longer and more perilous journey. In the days that followed, the survivors faced desperate challenges. With limited resources of water and food, they had to make difficult choices. Owen Chase, taking the lead, tried to maintain order and hope among the men, but the extreme conditions got the better of many. In the early days, the shock of the shipwreck still reverberated among them, but soon the reality of their situation set in. With limited supplies of water and food, every bite and every sip became precious, and rationing was the only option. Hunger quickly set in, weakening the bodies and minds of the men. They were constantly hungry, with the available food insufficient to satisfy even basic needs. Dehydration was an even crueler enemy. Drinking water was scarce, and drinking seawater only worsened the situation, increasing thirst due to the salt. The men suffered from cracked lips, dry throats, and the torture of intense thirst, which could not be relieved. Constant exposure to the elements was relentless. During the day, the scorching sun punished their skin, causing severe burns and sunstroke. At night, the cold of the open sea was equally merciless, with temperatures dropping drastically, leaving them shivering uncontrollably. The dangers of the sea were a constant threat. Storms arose without warning, tossing the boats and threatening to overturn them. Giant waves threw them around like toys, as they struggled to maintain control and not be swallowed by the relentless waters. The fear of sharks and other sea monsters was always present, adding a layer of terror to their already dire situation. A few weeks after the shipwreck, the men began to succumb to hunger and dehydration. In an act of desperation and survival, those still alive resorted to cannibalism. One of the boats, without Captain Pollard, was found years later, containing only skeletons. In Pollard's boat, a grim lottery was held to decide who would be sacrificed to feed the others. Pollard's young cousin was the chosen victim, and his body was consumed by the survivors. The trials were severe: extreme rationing of food, exposure to the scorching sun and the cold of the night, and the desperate lack of fresh water. Almost a month after the shipwreck, they reached Henderson Island but found few resources. While 3 men chose to stay on the island, the rest decided to continue their journey. Finally, on February 23, 1821, the whaling ship Dauphin rescued Pollard and a companion, finding them amidst the remains of their colleagues. A few days before, the boat with some survivors had also been rescued. Incredibly, the 3 men who stayed on Henderson Island also survived, being rescued in April 1821. After this terrible experience, Pollard tried to continue as a whale hunter, but after another shipwreck, he retired to a quieter life in Nantucket. Chase, marked by the trauma, became obsessed with stockpiling food. Now, let's analyze the events. Sperm whales are not known for attacking ships. However, the sperm whale that attacked the Essex might have perceived the ship as a threat or rival, possibly due to the noise and activity associated with whaling. Another theory suggests that the sperm whale might have acted in self-defense, reacting to previous attacks by whalers. Sperm whales are enormous animals, weighing up to 50 tons or more. A direct impact from a sperm whale at high speed could cause significant damage to a 19th-century wooden ship like the Essex. It's believed that the sperm whale struck the ship with its head, which is particularly large and sturdy, acting as a natural battering ram. The impact would have caused a large hole in the Essex's hull. Ships of that era were primarily made of wood and were not designed to withstand impacts from large marine animals. After the first impact, the Essex was already seriously damaged, and the second attack sealed its fate, making sinking inevitable. It's rare for a sperm whale to attack a ship, which makes the Essex's case exceptional. These animals are generally peaceful and interact little with human vessels. The aggression of the sperm whale against the Essex may have been atypical behavior, possibly provoked by the stressful environment created by whale hunting. Whale hunting process. When a whale was sighted, men launched small boats into the sea for a more direct approach. These boats were manned by a small group of men, usually 6, including a harpooner. The approach to the whale was done with great care, to not startle the animal. Once they were close enough, the harpooner would throw a harpoon at the whale, a task that required notable skill and precision. The harpoon, tied to the boat by a long rope, had a barb tip to lodge in the whale's flesh. After being hit, the whale often entered a frenzy, swimming rapidly and pulling the boat in a dangerous Nantucket sleigh ride. This was a moment of great risk, as the whale could drag the boat over long distances or dive to depths where the pressure could break the rope. When the whale finally tired, the men would approach again and use long lances to inflict fatal wounds. This process could take hours and was extremely exhausting and dangerous. Once dead, the whale was towed back to the main ship, where the processing work began. On the ship, the whale was cut up and its fat, known as blubber, was removed in large strips. This blubber was then boiled in huge cauldrons on the ship's deck to extract whale oil, a product highly valued at the time for lighting and lubrication. The work was hard, dirty, and dangerous, with men working in shifts throughout the day and night, often under adverse weather conditions. We've come to the end of this incredible yet sad story, sad both for the hunting of these beautiful animals and for the poor men who succumbed to the sea and chose this life for lack of better options. I hope you enjoyed today's video. We also have a video talking about the largest whale of today. Stay with God and go watch it.